Hello and welcome again to our wonderful Melbourne Catholic website. We've spoken to so many interesting people over the last couple of years. We're about to meet another, maybe a walking saint, in Brother Frank O'Shea from Victoria, Warrnambool, Western Victoria, but has been in Kenya for a long, long time, and we're going to hear about what he's been doing and a really interesting life. So, Brother Frank, welcome.
Thank you.
And
good to be here.
Well, nice to have you with us. I've been twisting people's arms to get a chance to talk to you for quite a while. I want to go back to where it all started. As I'm told, you were a bit of a naughty boy in the Christian Brothers Primary School. They chucked you out. So tell us about those early days.
Well, Warrnambool, I grew up, went to Christian Brothers School, dairy farm, number 6 of 13 children.
Wow.
Wasn't interested in schooling, and I messed around for a number of years, and eventually they said, I think he's reached as far as he's going. So, but my mother wasn't having a bar of that, and she sent me to Sunbury, Salesians, because they had an agricultural course.
I see.
But when I got there, they said, you have to do Form 4 again, and I said, I don't go back. So I did 1 year of Form 5, leaving, and left, worked on the farm for a year, and then got on my motorbike in September of that following year and rode in and said to the brothers, here I am, I've come to join you.
What's your memory of that?
Well, I knew them and they kind of knew me. There was no animosity there.
Were they in shock?
No, they knew I was good Irish stock. So January the 14th, 1972, I turned up to Lower Plenty.
And away you went. So I've spoken to priests about this, but in your terms, was it a calling from God, or was it something that just grew over time?
Yes, it was a calling from God. I tried to get rid of it, dismiss it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Catholicity in the family. And so we knew them. My father would say, in life, just be handy. And so I recently was at a luncheon telling people at the European here that being handy translated into 3 vows: poverty, chastity and obedience.
So how did you land in Kenya? Which is where Brother Frank does all his work now.
Like everywhere else, doing what I'm told. Going back to 1982, I was at St. Vincent's Boys' Home after doing a phys ed degree. As I said, I now have a Master's in Education Leadership, I have a BSc in Human Movement, but I haven't finished high school.
Good story.
So I get around a few things. But they said, would I go to Tonga? I said, well, if you tell me where it is, I'll go. Because we had no presence in the Kingdom of Tonga.
Yes.
I finished up playing cricket for Tonga International, the rowing coach for the King. He lost 100 kilos under my strict regime.
What a good story.
And so I said, I'll go. Then I came back. I had a bit of time in Ireland, and I was determined to stay in Australia because my roots were there and I wanted something more relational in life.
Yes.
You know, you get to that stage of late 30s, just wanted something more relational, and inside your own culture is the place to explore that. And they said, Brother Paul Noonan, great man, and he just persevered with me. Yes, you can stay here, yes, but we need you in Tanzania. And eventually, 3 weeks later, I sat on the beach in Warrnambool and said, if I start saying no now to that call, I might as well go and ask to get out.
Right.
So that was Tanzania, 1994.
And tell me how you got to Kenya, because I want to explore it
more Kenya, right.
Quite
so
much today, yes.
I did 13 years there, and I said I'm leaving Africa, and the boss then at the time in Australian, Jared Alul, said, well, go and have a bit of time for yourself. I did a 40-day retreat in England, but I said, don't contact me, I said, for 5 months. And on the day of the 5th month ending,
they contacted
you. He emailed me in a Skype and said, would I go to South Sudan? So I went to South Sudan, desperate place. And I did all sorts of things for 20 months, learned my 3rd language, Pazande.
So what's the second?
Kiswahili
Yes, which is what you use in Africa.
now, and the first was Tongan, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working in prisons and teaching reading and writing in mother tongue. I worked in refugee camps. Lord's Resistance Army was big in our area.
Right.
Joseph Kony, I hid in the ceiling a few times, and he's here.
It was a rather infamous name.
Yes. So
Possibly
then I
battle.
said, I'm going back to Australia, and they said, okay, but just have one look at Ruben Centre, slums of Nairobi before you go. All right, I said, I'll have one look, but don't come near me for 1 month. And within 2 days, I was sold.
So we're going to explore the Ruben Centre and the Mukuru slum.
Slums, yeah.
We're in the capital of Kenya, Nairobi. Big country, 40-something million.
40-something million, and the population goes up 1 million a year.
Wow.
1 million a year.
Wow. So Brother Frank has started 2 classrooms in the Mukuru slum quite a number of years ago, and we'll talk about how that's grown. But as it's been described to me, Frank, if you fly into Nairobi, you see the lights of any normal big city, but you see these huge dark patches, which is where these slums are, where there's no electricity. Is that pretty accurate?
6.3 million people living in Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
If you look up an old statistic of like 2 years, 3 years ago, it'll say 4 million.
Wow.
80% of those people are living on 2% of the land. There are 48 slums, and Mukuru is one of the largest. We have 350,000 people living on 500 acres of land. Christian Brothers were invited there in the year 2000 by a Mercy sister from Ireland.
Yep.
Because in those days, free primary education was not there. And so all these slum children were not going to school. So she started a number of these schools in corrugated sheds.
Yes.
And including this one. But over the intervening years, she had a few donor groups who looked after them, but then they all abandoned her. So she went to the Christian Brothers, and in 2000 we agreed to take over that centre. And by then it was a small primary school.
Yes.
And it had a container as our clinic.
Right.
That was all. That was the year was 2000. So it had about 300 children there. And then over the time it got a bit bigger, more tin sheds, more of this. They built a clinic. And then our leader, though, was saying it needs someone with a bit of more get up and go, grab it by the scruff of the neck and see what you can do. So it has grown significantly since I arrived in July 2010, after that time in South Sudan.
So the Ruben Centre, how was it named?
It's a slum at the back of the industrial area, and there was a Jewish family, and Reuben, of course, one of the 12 sons of Jacob, and this Jew started a transport business. And in Africa, names just sort of emerge, and so his name was Ruben, Transport Industries, so the slum became Ruben. We dropped the E, that was too confusing, so now it's R-U-B-E-N. But it grew out of that. And everyone is in a corrugated iron shed, and the pathways are very narrow.
Yes.
Now they're building 2-storey corrugated iron sheds.
Really?
Which are fire traps, they're just health hazards.
Yeah.
And Ruben is in the middle of it. We have about 3 acres of land, which was grabbed by that Sister of Mercy.
Yes.
At a good time. Now that 3 acres sounds a lot, but there's not a square inch of it now doing nothing. So it has significantly grown until we say now it's the one-stop shop. Ruben
So explain
Centre.
that. Explain the one-stop shop idea.
Womb to tomb care.
Yes.
So
Education, obviously.
yeah, but you've got to start earlier than that.
Yes.
We have 2 clinics on site. So anyone in that area with a health issue comes to our place. They pay a small amount because anything free is not valued. So,
Right.
But it's highly subsidised, probably to the tune of 70%. But we would have the normal things that need attention. But every month, around 70 women come in and they're pregnant.
Yes.
And once they're tested, we and it's confirmed they're pregnant, and we test for HIV.
Yes.
So we have another clinic for HIV patients. So we try to stop the mother-to-child transmission.
I see.
And so there's about 350 positive children in there.
Right.
And if they're 18 months old and we test again and they're negative, then they're right for life.
Yep.
So that's why we say womb to tomb care. So you can come in literally to Ruben Centre in the womb. And then there's education. We have a baby care centre as well that's started. Mothers looking for a day's work can leave their 8-month-old. We say 8 months and up there, and then they go looking for work. That's how they survive. So 40, 50 there every day. We have an early childhood development centre, so that's nursery school and pre-unit, they call it, pre-grade 1. There's 400 in that, 450, and we've got 2,500 in primary schools in the school now. So it's growing significantly.
And I know you have a vision for a secondary school, is that right?
Yes. There's no established secondary school in this slum.
Right.
But the primary school is a government school. But they provide very little support to the public school. 27 teachers.
They being the government.
The government, and I'm funding 41 for 2,700. So I'm always in constant battle with them to up their numbers.
I'm sure you don't have a typical day, but give us a broad idea of what a day might look like. What time are you up and about?
So I'm director of the centre, and now we've grown it to 28 programs.
Wow.
The latest is a radio station. We have Ruben FM, and we're reaching those 500,000 people.
Wonderful.
The Communications Authority of Kenya, you've heard about this.
I do know that.
Communications Authority of Kenya have given us a licence to do the FM transmission, and so the radio station is just a sensation.
Well, I spoke to a number of the people who were going to be on air and off air before it started. I was so impressed with their passion and enthusiasm. So I'm actually keen myself to hear how it's going. That's just wonderful.
You can listen online too.
Of course.
Ruben FM. You get online, you can hear it. But they celebrated their 1 year last Saturday.
So let's just work away from Mukuru for a moment. A couple more questions before we finish. First of all, God to you. You're living an amazing life. Describe to our tens of thousands of people watching here, what is God to Brother Frank O'Shea?
God is my meaning. I read the other day, it was in the Australian, there was a lift out about the Benedictines and Cistercians. And Michael Casey, and I knew this Abbot Michael Casey years ago, but he said many people come to a religious life for many reasons, but they only stay for one reason, and that's relationship with God. And so God is that primary relationship that I have in life, which motivates me, stirs me up. That's what, I wouldn't like to make it too pious, but I'm never alone.
Well, look, a pleasure to meet you and chat to you today. Good luck with the continued great work
and
in the Mukuru slum.
Looking for people who want to get behind us.
And tell us about that, because a lot of the money you raise comes from here in Melbourne and from Christian Brothers Associations.
Yes.
What's the easiest way for people to support you?
Well, we have a website and a Facebook site.
Just under Ruben Centre?
Ruben Centre.
That's brilliant. Lovely to meet you. Congratulations on your great efforts.
Good to be here.